Marcus stalked Chelsea all the way out here. There's Chelsea. I wonder if she knows that everyone's looking for her. Hey, do your job, why don't you?
Hello, Jennifer, Carson. I'm just collecting some notes for my paper on William Shakespeare. Fab luck that the troupe decided to stage our play here in Stratford. I'm finding all kinds of stuff here. This is the house that Shakespeare was actually born in. It's been restored to look just as it would have back when he was alive, in the late 1500s and early 1600s. Can you imagine what it was like to live back then? In those days, Elizabeth I was Queen of England, and so Walter Raleigh was trying to set up the first colonies in America. There wasn't any running water inside the houses then, or refrigeration, or telly or radio, of course.
What?
One way people entertained themselves was by watching plays. Shakespeare's plays were very popular. He wrote 37 in all, and hundreds of poems. I bet you've heard some of his characters, and you may not even know it. Ever hear of Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Othello, Puck? Those are all names of characters in Shakespeare's plays. He was such a marvelous playwright that people still love to listen to his plays almost 400 years later.
I love Shakespeare. My favorite is Romeo and Juliet, but it's really sad. Chels, we're on nickname basis here. Do you know that Dr. Wilde and everybody are looking for you? Why don't you do your fucking job for a change?
Oh dear, I've lost track of the time. I have to get back. The dress rehearsal is about to start.
He's here for absolutely no reason. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Carson. Exploring Shakespeare's country, are you? I was just helping Chelsea collect her notes. She's just brilliant. I could follow her around all day. He has like little hearts in his eyes. Awful bad luck they're having with the play. I was just talking to one of the actors about it over by the minibuses before we left. He says the play is historically plagued with bad luck. Even as we were talking, he almost fell prey to it himself. His hands were covered in black grease, and he came this close to wiping it all over his porter's costume. The guide says that this building where Shakespeare was born was built over 500 years ago. The walls are made of twigs mixed with plaster and a building material called wattle and daub. And the dark stripes up and across the house are actually the timbers holding it together. Some of the houses that were built in Elizabethan times had thatched roofs made of... Houses were heated by fireplaces in those days, so people had to be very careful that the sparks didn't fly up the chimney and set the roof on fire. Okay. Garnage sighed Shakespeare's birthplace is filled with different herbs and flowers. In Elizabethan times, the herbs from the garden were used for cooking. Wow, that was the most worthless clue, I think, ever in the history of Eagle Eye Mysteries. Why was that even there? Oh, I hate Ned Bassett. I think we can figure out this theatrical mystery. Choose the clues that best show who you believe sabotaged the second minibus. Ned Bassett. He never does anything nice for anybody. Like, the two mystery he's in, he's the culprit in both. And he's a giant prick. Grr, Ned Bassett. Oh, I guess that's all we need. Good! Now point out who you believe is responsible for stranding Mr. Frescura and Miss Finley in London. If you think it's just bad luck, pick the witches. Yeah, that's it. Oh, look at that stupid, smarmy smile. And his purple shirt. And his douchey hairdo. You got it! There may be a theater superstition about bad luck following the play Macbeth, but it wasn't bad luck that sabotaged the troupe's second minibus. Mrs. Skew told us that the minibus broke down because someone removed an important part of the engine, the distributor cap. Dr. Wilde told us that Ned Bassett is a whiz with cars. He'd know exactly what engine part to remove to make it impossible for the bus to run. Plus, he's a douche. Ned Bassett wanted to play Macbeth, the lead role in the play, but instead he had to settle for playing the porter, a very small part. Mr. Frescura was cast as Macbeth, despite his irritable bowel syndrome, but Ned was his understudy. If Mr. Frescura wasn't able to perform, Ned would get to take the lead role. Marcus Dare, who was there for no other reason other than to give us this decisive clue, told us that he saw an actor dressed as the porter out by the minibus with grease on his hands. Ned was the actor cast as the porter, and he had grease on his hands because he had just removed the distributor cap from the second minibus. He let his ambition get him into trouble, just like Macbeth. Ooh, everyone shake your fist at Ned Bassett. Frescura's Macbeth, a smash hit. Look, admission was only $4. Opening night for Dr. Dahlia Wilde's production of Macbeth in Stratford-upon-Avon this weekend was a raving success. Mr. Alfred Frescura played the Scottish king with rare style. If it hadn't been for Carson Drew, admitted Frescura, my understudy might have taken the role from me. The production had been plagued by the legendary bad luck of the Scottish play, as superstitious thespians call it. But when a minibus carrying the two leading actors was sabotaged, the young American young? Okay. Hey, Carson's young. He's still attractive, right? The young American detectives dug up enough evidence to force a confession out of Frescura's ambitious understudy. Like Macbeth, Ned let himself be ruined by his own ambition, explained Dr. Wilde. After the show was over, we boiled him in the witch's pot.